We are going to get stuck into the second matchup of this evening. It will be Delta Project versus Lost Souls. I do believe we might see some little bit of map bannage now to see where these two teams are going to go head to head. Of course, as we saw last week, Delta decided to show up, bring the thunder, and they very much put their foot down and were like, no, we're here to win now. So this is going to get very interesting. Another villa.
Another villa.
Another villa.
That's going to be fun.
This is going to be an interesting one because, again, the side of Delta, they are very, very, very experienced players. Collectively, just a lot more experience in the side of Lost Souls. Lost Souls have been playing out of their minds the best that they can. Do I realistically think this will go well for them? Potentially, if they can play into the advantages that this map could bring. At the same time, as I say, Delta, they're an absolute death stack of a team. You've got players like Kitty, you've got players like Miss Marie, who just is like they eat seeds for breakfast every morning, and they will know this map like the back of their hand. They will know exactly what to bring to the table. They'll know every nook and cranny, every single trick you could bring to them. So this could be quite a spicy one, to be honest. And again, the theme of the night is going to be spice because we are getting towards that mid-season now, that day 3, 4, and 5, and this is when things are just going to go from 0 to 100. And Delta Project have already said that they are at that 100 now, and they intend to stay at 100 for the rest of the season. And I want to see what Lost Souls do now to counter whatever Delta bring to the table, to be honest, Dino.
I mean, you say that Delta have been going at 100, but that first week was very rocky from them. And teams that go from being very rocky to very strong, I find often can fluctuate and have a lot of space in between. And it's not necessarily consistent performance. This is the week, this is the Playday where I want to see Delta Project really come out, play well, play hard, and show that consistency so that we know they're going to be a threat all the way throughout the season. And that first week was just a bit of a fluke, a little bit of a mistake. And that it's going to be consistent and threatening all the way throughout, because if they can't show up here and put on a dominant performance, I feel that it could sow some seeds of doubt, could make things a little bit more difficult, and that's not really what they want. They want come in here to make a statement, and this is the week to do it for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I agree with that, to be honest, but again, for Lost Souls, if they are able to play to their advantages here and play into the advantages that this map brings, and if Lost Souls got the win against a team like Delta Project, I think that's going to certainly put the gust under their sails, so to speak, for the rest of the season. I do think this is going to be hard for them, though, and again, that's no disrespect to them. It's just, again, when you look at the experience of these players, this is kind of a very much a David versus Goliath situation. Which, of course, I will say I do love those kind of situations, and I always support the David in these situations. So more power to Lost Souls. But again, they're starting on attack here, Dino, and let's see how these bans play into what may happen. Delta Project starting us off with a Jackal ban themselves.
Now, what's the bets that we see a Nomad, Valk, and a Mirror ban to close us out, and we have an exact repeat of before? Nah, unlikely. I think we'll probably see Lost Souls go for something a bit more standard, probably a Thatcher getting taken off the board here. But just a little note about what you're saying, David versus Goliath. Ultimately, the story goes it was David to win that duel, so there's always the potential that Lost Souls could come on out and put on an absolute stunner of a performance, and that is going to be Dekebi getting banned out here, Grace.
Yeah, which is, again, it's quite an interesting one, considering that I don't know whether that's them reading into something they know about Delta Project or how they might bring that attack or something like that. But there's that mirror ban as well, the classic. Realistically, I don't think these are favorable bans for the side of Lost Souls. I think that they could have done something a little bit more razzle-dazzle-y with this. At the same time, I completely understand why you'd want to take the mirror away. It's the idea of like, do we trust them to just not bring it if it's on the table? And then Delta, there we are going to ban out Wamai themselves. So very tactical bans on the side of Delta Project. The bans on the side of Lost Souls feel more like they have some very specific thinking behind them. And maybe that's based on their own analysis from previous weeks.
Yeah, that Dekebi ban to me seems a bit out of the ordinary. Is there something more going on behind that? Some deeper strategy that Lost Souls are reading into?
I mean, it's interesting because we are seeing Drake there on the line, unless that's about to be six. We're also seeing the Capitao be brought. Obviously, those Whammo magnets off the table. That's going to be very impactful because there's going to be nothing to stop those flame bolts from coming through and barbecuing people who may be stuck in particular corner. Oh, wait, no, it's being sixed onto a Blackbeard. See, do
Oh
you know
no.
what? Do you see the six onto the Clash? The Capitao would have been perfect for that. Would have been absolutely perfect. And this is, I said this in the first fella match up of this evening. That clash is so powerful, especially on this site. You hold 90 and you're on that 90 corner where Miss Marie is just now. You have the clash there and you have a gunner behind you that just jiggles out now and again and stops any kind of approach from that bedroom pig side. Or alternatively, you have it on that elbow by main stairs and you stop that push from the study side. This is going to be a very, very impactful operator pick for the side of Delta Project Dino.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be impactful, but it could be make or break. There's always the potential that the clash goes down early and you see all these long sightlines that are being opened up, or the play that's going to be made around this clash and the rotations that they're trying to form. If that clash goes down early and isn't able to be effective, it's going to leave the rest of the defenders in a pretty difficult situation with not a lot to realistically use to help hold on to the objective. I'm going to see Fairy on that Blackbeard, take out the default cam and just get on the drone straight away, cover the approach onto the objective. And we're going to expect to see a lot of upside down window play coming through from that Blackbeard, which is likely where we'll see the clash get caught out, if we see the clash get caught out.
If, and it's a big if, to be honest, because again, when you look at the utility on the side of the attackers to deal with that, mostly flash grenades there. And I really do wish that they kept that Capitao. I think that this Blackbeard is going to be a little bit wasted, and I'm wondering what that Selma charge was about. Perhaps a little bit of a misstep of the key there. I believe we are also going to rehost after this round. We have just been told by production, so I think one of the players has called for a rehost.
Potentially, we'll have to learn a little bit more about that later on. But for now, going to continue to play out this round, debating whether or not they want to throw out one of those EMPs, but it's not going to be the case. That's going to be a beautiful peek coming through from the Jaeger to take down Drake, and that's the line gone super early on. None of those EE1Ds used, and another peek from the Jaeger. This is what you said. The gunner peeking around from behind the clash, able to secure those kills. And now it is a 3 versus 5 Delta Project in the driver's seat here in round 1.
Absolutely. Look at this clash coming up. It's such a scary thing to go up against. It's a giant shield, especially on defense. Maya getting aggressive with it, getting the pick onto Fairy there. Raz and Reek all left down in a 2v5. Of course they're going to get pinched. Look at this aggression coming out. They'll kill goblins on the side of Delta Project. A flawless round to start this off, and blimey O'Reilly, Dino, this could get very, very dangerous very quickly for Lost Souls.
Yeah, we say that this is a defender-sided map, but that was an astonishing performance from Delta Project, taking the fight to Lost Souls in a way that you don't really ever see on Villa, particularly with the Jaeger swinging around from behind the clash. Generally, it's a bit more passive. Generally, the Jaeger isn't wide swinging with very little intel, but that was the case here, and it just worked to perfection. As, yeah, Delta Project starting off incredibly strong.
Absolutely. And again, the fact that they've come into this on a flawless, and the way that they brought that utility and the way that they played and that teamwork, this is exactly what I mean. Where, for the side of Lost Souls, ideally in this situation, again, they need to maybe bring in that secondary dimension. Maybe some vert play needs to come through. Maybe bring a buck themselves, something like that, just to add a little bit of pressure underneath. Because otherwise they're just going to keep having to deal with these weird kind of operator compositions on the side of Delta that are very difficult to deal with when they do not have the utility on the attack to deal with it.
Yeah. So rehost is going on. It would appear one of the players crashed out of the lobby, so we're just going to get that set back up and carry on with it. And yeah, I mean, it's always annoying when you have a rehost after the first round, because you're just starting to get on into it and you're just starting to really learn what these teams are wanting to do, but you don't have enough intel to really go off to see how things are going to change. The big thing for me, though, is I want to see a lot more aggression coming out from the side of Lost Souls, being able to take those challenges, use those flashbangs, and peak as a team. I mean, they had a Blackbeard, and they didn't choose to place that Blackbeard on the 90 window. That upside down rappel there is super strong. It would have forced the Clash and Jaeger off of where they were holding, would have made things potentially a little bit easier for the rest
Hmm.
of the team. Wasn't the case. And Delta Projects, like you said before, they're experienced enough to be able to just dive off that every single day of the week.
Exactly, exactly. And even if they kept the original pick of the Capitale, again, there's no magnets to prevent those bolts from coming through. A little bit of cooked clash action, barbecue her up. It's the easiest way to deal with that shield utility, or at least force her back, so you can apply that extra pressure down towards 90, and again take more control. Yes, it may be a bit clunky, but that is your best way to grab that control. And once you have that control, that's where you get the power, to be honest. And yeah, a tricky one, very much a tricky one. Again, Delta said they were going to bring the sweat. This is the thing. Delta said they were going to bring the sweat, and I fully expect. And as soon as I saw the clash, I was like, I know exactly how that's going to get played. I know 100% how that's going to get played, and thus it happened. Like it's just one of those, isn't it? And again, on the side of Lost Souls, I think they just need to, yeah, as you say, it's the positioning as well. Like, even if they had the Blackbeard or even the Capitao on that 90 window, adding that extra bit of pressure, that extra angle of attack to it. Again, if they brought the verticality, that would certainly benefit them as well, because then it's kind of like, oh, okay, we have to clear out whoever's coming underneath now. Um, so on and so forth, really. But at the moment, Delta are just in a really strong position where Lost Souls aren't going to bring anything as pinchy, I suppose, to them. So that's going to be pretty straightforward for Delta to deal with, because it's just one dimension of attack essentially at that point. And even if they do have that second dimension on like a balcony, Delta are just being aggressive with it and getting that pick. So again, Lost Souls maybe push together, stay a bit closer, be really thinking about the utility that they're bringing here to deal with what Delta Project are bringing.
Hmm, absolutely. But the one of the things for me is that the good side of this rehost, if you're a Lost Souls fan, is that it's giving them an opportunity to kind of reset after the absolute assault that
Mm.
that first round was. It was difficult to really sort of wrap your head around just how aggressive and how sort of brutal that round from Delta Project was. And this is giving Lost Souls the opportunity to go, right, well, what do we do wrong? What can we work on? What do we need to do to adjust from here on out? So it's going to even the scales a little bit. I think had we not had this break, the next couple rounds, the momentum would have been so heavily on the side of Delta Project that that might have been the game sort of teed off right there directly into their favor. This way around essentially gives Lost Souls a little bit more of an opportunity to get back on in and be aggressive and challenge the final result.
Absolutely, yeah, and it almost works out as like a tactical timeout of sorts,
Mm,
doesn't it? Really.
yeah.
I think we are just waiting for the ladies of Delta to get back into the lobby, but again, maybe some technical issues on that side as well. Can be a bit of a tricky one. I mean, again, if I was Lost Souls at this point, I'd be like, okay, we need to be bringing a bit more beneficial utility to deal with stuff like that. Thinking about our positioning, I do assume that they will be having these conversations. This is the thing, like I really don't think they're just sat there in Discord or TeamSpeak just being like blah 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 crisps blah blah blah. Like I think they are going to be saying like this is what we need to do to deal with that approach. Stop! Don't you dare to deal with that approach by
Anything you could
Delta
have said.
Project. And I'm ignoring you now.
You could have
Um,
said anything, and crisps was your go-to.
yes.
All right, I respect it.
I think that yeah, they will be making the most of this little bit of time that they have. But at the same time, maybe so will Delta. Um, Realistically, I think they're just probably wanting to get back in the lobby right now. But it can be an opportunity for both sides to kind of discuss things. And of course, Aviator being taken off the board nice and early, as that it is probably one of the most commonly picked starting sites for this map, to be honest. And again, would assume that they are just going to go to trophy now. Tertiary tends to be by the third, fourth round anyway. So yeah, I'm expecting to go to trophy next, and this will be interesting for me personally because again, it's this idea of with how aggressive these setups they're bringing. I am expecting that classic like we're shooting out the whole of the closet, and we're maybe going to have a rotate between trophy and bedroom. Maybe a little bit of like the old school push where you have the castle utility as well, just to cover those extra bit of angles, and you can get a bit bolshy with it. And it's just again this aggression, these aggressive setups, these aggressive plays that I think Delta are probably going to bring now. And if you're Lost Souls, you're going to have to assume that you're going for that long push from the Aviator games here, because I think they will be walking into a death trap if they try and push that bedroom. Genuinely, I do. Um, I've just been told by production that chat want to know about my axe. Okay, so this is my new axe. Uh, it's an 8th to 10th century Viking axe, basically. Well, a replica. I'm just gonna be really nerdy on main now. It's cool though. No, it's nothing to do with any kind of operator leaks. I promise you, it was just existing in my room for reasons. So there we are. But thank you for being entertained by my weird belongings. Again, Project Athena, the goddess of war. Of course, it would be rude of me to not bring constant strange items to do with warmongering to you all on this beautiful Twitch channel. Whilst I'm there as well, if you are not following the Opportunity League on Twitter, please do so, as it will help you keep not only updated on the goings on of this season, but there's also some nice little voting systems that are going underway for every single play day where you can vote which team you think's going to win out. There's a little bet going on as well. Jess Goat's getting involved by placing her bets on who she thinks going to win. See if you can beat Jess Goat. That is the key here. See if you can go and be like, I'm betting for this team, and I will beat Jess Goat, and then you can at Jess and say, Jess, I beat you, and
Yeah.
that's what we like.
See, I'm just thinking because back in was it week 1, you wound up putting the Viking helmet on.
Mm-hmm.
Week 3, you have the Viking axe in the background. By week 7, are you just going to be doing the whole broadcast in full Viking garb? Because if you are, I am 100% here for it.
If chat want that, I am more than willing to turn up in an entirely replicated Viking outfit from the 8th to 10th century specifically. Specifically. So if chat want that, I will do it for chat, but for no other reason.
No other reason
No
than for the
reason.
chat.
Only if chat wants it, okay? Only if chat wants it. If chat want me to dress as a Viking on week 4, I will more than happily comply with that.
Yep. Chat, you know what to do. Just go for it. Full send.
Full send.
Full send.
What we like is what we like to see. But no, again, speaking of full send, we are getting those players of DP into the lobby now. They are all in the lobby, ready and raring to go. We are going to go into an instant rehost, apparently. So we are going to delay slightly as well. There are some settings wrong in the lobby, of course. It's always Playday 3 as well. It's always Playday 3 is when stuff like this happens. It's always that mid-season where things go a bit silly.
But you've got to get them out of the way. You know, you have to get them out of the way nice and early on, and then after this, plain sailing all the way home. As yeah, we are going to be getting on back into this one shortly. I do believe because the crash actually occurred just briefly into the round, the stream is a little bit ahead of where we are, that the site and the operators are going to be locked. So it is going to be Aviator Games being defended by Delta Project. So going to be No, not Aviator Games. They already won Aviator Games. That was the very first round. We've only had one round. How am I forgetting this? It's going to be Statue Trophy that they're defending. And
Which again, as predicted, and I feel, this is gonna they are gonna bring the I'm calling it now. I'm calling it now. Okay, I'm calling it now. They are gonna bring the sweatiest setup you've ever seen in your entire life. And if Lost Souls go anywhere near that bedroom area, it's just gonna be like watching, I don't know,
Souls get
mice
lost.
souls get lost, perhaps. Yes. No, it's going to be unfortunate because, well, actually, to be fair, it depends again whether or not they're going to adapt with that utility or whether they're going to bring the same setup they did last time. If they suddenly turn around and they're like, actually, yeah, we are going to bring the capital, and we're going to bring loads of smokes and flashes and all of the things, and we're going to be a bit sweaty with it back. We're going to be aggressive with it back. Again, with these aggressive setups on defense, if you bring a ton of utility, an absolute metric ton of utility, that is the easiest way to deal with stuff like that. Flashes, you could dare I say what would be spicy right now is if Lost Souls brought something like a Ying. If it could work again, if they're being that aggressive, or it's again that utility to push back these kind of very, yes, you do see it a lot, things like the clash and stuff like that, but it's these aggressive setups that the best way to deal with it is just to flash them out the nines and be like, you can't see us, and we have that advantage now.
Hmm. I mean, with my band off the board, it does make things like Ying and Capital just that little bit stronger as the
Exactly.
ADSs. The change that happened quite a while ago now, but it's still worth talking about because they have that one, you know, ch- one chance to stop the utility, and then it's a whole 10 seconds. You just need a teammate to throw a single flashbang while you're cooking a Ying in your pocket, roll it in, it immediately pops. You can just run into the room and do so much damage because, of course, Ying isn't blinded by her own flashes. So it the potential there to just be aggressive and go for these players, particularly on a map like this, and when you know that Delta Project is going to be trying to take the fight to you, it does give Lost Souls a little bit of an opportunity to, if you know that a team's always being aggressive, you can put systems in place to be able to deal with those aggressive characters and just start beating them back and holding them at bay to give yourself the best opportunity to be successful in these rounds.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. Um, and often when you see teams play like this, and if there is a bit of a, not an awkward situation, but a situation where you're against a team who are almost veterans, and have consistently shown up for a number of years in different tournaments as well, that is when you need to be thinking more about that utility and, yeah, just being a bit outside of the box to combat the fact that, maybe you are going into this at a little bit of, a disadvantage. And again, it's not saying like, oh, one team's better than the other. It's just that idea of like, if you've been playing compet for a very long time, you're going to know the ins and outs of those typical and standard setups a lot better. Um, but at the same time, this is going to be a really good learning experience for Lost Souls, to be honest, as well. Like, if I was them, I'd be like, this is going to be decent for us to play and also look back on and be like, okay, here's what we did wrong, here's what we did right, things like that. And again, it's one of these things where I really do like it when the David character in a matchup does come out on top. Of course, we are only, one round in. We are still waiting on that lobby. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Um, we are just gonna try and wait a little bit here for Delta to be loading back in where they can.
Yeah, just make sure that we can get on in and so we can play this game nice and fair and even and get the best result that we can. As yeah, Delta Project, this is an important match for them, as I mentioned right at the very start of the pre-show. If they win here, that's going to put them right up at the top, tied in second place with the potential to, in the future challenge and potentially even take that top spot. However, if they lose here today, then that's going to really throw the rest of their season in jeopardy. As getting to that middle of the season, when you're in that mid-table, things can change so quickly. There's no sort of assurances that you will be able to stay in those higher seeds and get through to the end of the season in a preferable position. So every game counts, especially as you've been mentioning through these weeks 3, 4, and 5, being able to get a good string of wins here for Delta, or even for Lost Souls, that would put them in a very strong position moving forward and would establish them within those top spots and could potentially solidify them for the rest of the season.
Mm, absolutely, yeah. We are just getting the last two players of both sides into the lobby now. So we will be joining the round number 2 very, very soon. I mean, yeah, I think only time will tell how this is going to go. Thus far, it's been very sweaty on the side of Delta, but we are only one round in. So let's get stuck into this. Hopefully, we will be starting any second. Again, prediction wise, just want to see Lost Souls bring that utility now. Want to see them bring that utility. Want to see them think outside the box a little bit to deal with that aggression and those very sweaty setups from Delta Project.
Yeah. Sweaty Setups is going to be the name of the game. Delta Project continuing on defense here. As we mentioned, they're going to be going over to Trophy Statue. Going to see a little bit of that Thunderbird get brought on out. And we saw how effective it was in isolation in the previous game. It's going to be interesting to see if it's going to be.
Yeah, definitely. And again, I'm really curious to see what this setup is going to look like. Obviously, you've got the Aruni there if they do decide to make that rotate between bedroom and trophy. They've got Goyo shields and the Thunderbirds as well. And of course, with those Goyo shields, this is where that destructible utility needs to come through from the attack to deal with it. Again, utility, 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 utility. It needs to be coming now from Lost Souls, or they are gonna get in a bit of a predicament. It looks actually like we're not gonna see the rotation setup. We're actually seeing that wall completely reinforced there by Maya. So a bit more of a turtle setup around that trophy site. We are gonna see the Goyo shield by that Aruni gate as well. So that's very naughty actually if you think about it. I don't. The Aruni gate will almost deal with any utility that tries to destroy the Goyo shield. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, the Urani Gate will be able to capture one piece of utility that gets thrown on in, so the Goyo Shield will be able to last a little bit longer, which means that if anyone's playing directly behind the Goyo Shield, they're going to have a moment or two as opportunities to be able to run away before getting annihilated or burnt to a crisp.
And presumably you'll see an ADS there as well, as is standard for that kind of doorway. So again, a very, very tricky situation to deal with if you're the attackers here. A lot of utility needs to be used there before you can even make that approach. You need to be getting rid of that shield setup and potentially what may be a very aggressive defender behind it. Drake making their way up the main stairs here towards what I believe is Kitty on that 90 corridor area. Yes, it is. And there we go. Kitty is going to shut her down before she has a chance to cause any kind of chaos. But Eri is on the hunt for the refrag. A little bit of a delay, but it looks like she can try and hunt her down. Ideally, yeah, there we go. Using a little bit of the utility there to help aid her on her approach to hunt for this Roma. But there's actually more people than I think she expects lurking around. And there we go. There was indeed Shishka there on the Jaeger, going to take her down as well. It's now a 3v5, Dino.
Yeah, 3 versus 5 in favor of Delta Project. That first round was a flawless victory for them. They're going to be trying to go for another one here. As Mia just needs to come back to the site, get a couple of heals from Miss Marie's Thunderbirds, and she'll be good to go again. Brand new. EMP is going to go on out as these Skyros pallets are positioned on the wall. Going to be opening up potentially an angle, but the impact nade going to come on through and get rid of some of them. The follow-up impact, I think, might have actually destroyed all of them. Either that or it was timed with the explosion, so we were unable to hear it. No, so some of them have been able to successfully detonate, so there will be a line of sight, but not enough to open the wall up. Panda is going to swing on around and get that kill onto Fairy. He's now trapped at the top of the stairs, but Miss Marie is going to help out and get that kill onto the Thatcher, and now it is all left up to Raz. 1 versus 5 on this Hibana. Panda on low HP, everyone else getting healed up, and in fact, Panda now getting healed up by those Thunderbirds. This is not looking good for Lost Souls, as it's likely another flawless round is about to come through from Delta Project.
Yeah, indeed. We just saw there as well. There we go. Another flawless. And very, very, very disgusting setup there by Delta Project. But again, even at the end there, we saw that shield, that Iruni gate, they were still up. It was still fine and dandy. I think they need to focus their utility play a little bit more here. So, okay, fair enough. Maybe we don't take these 1v1 engagements because, maybe we're not going to have as high a chance here as we would maybe just clearing a lot of this utility, go a bit more back to basics with it. Um, and get rid of again some of these very disgusting angles that can be held because of things like those Goyo shields, etc., etc. We are going to get to kitchen and dining, however, and again, I'm curious to see how Lost Souls are going to approach this. They seem to be they're to be fair, Dino, to be fair to them, their approach to these sites are not bad. It's very thought out to an extent. It's just they're getting caught off guard a little bit. There's not really anyone there instantaneously for the refrag. And so what I'd like to see here is if they do go a bit more direct this time, they do go upstairs, but they're pushing 2x2. And then they start working that verticality. And again, there's the shield set up around that kind of statue doorway, a little bit of mute jammer action as well. Just again, a lot of utility that they have to clear first, and I think that is going to be the name of the game, to be honest.
Yeah, the big thing for me is sort of alluded to was in that previous round, especially there was never a point where there was anyone available for a refrag for Lost Souls. There was sort of potentially a moment where if Eri ran a little bit faster, could have gotten the kill or the trade onto Kitty as she ran away from that first frag of the round, but not really in a direct position to refrag, not really in a position to pinch and deny the rotations coming through. So Lost Souls, I feel they need to work a little bit more together, but Drake gonna do just the opposite and run in by herself. Gonna see if she can find someone in isolation, but Miss Marie somehow doesn't get spotted and is actually able to get away and back onto the objective. There are no Thunderbirds available in this round or Doc Stims to heal her back up, so she's gonna have to deal with that about 25 points of HP as the frag nades from Raz going to come on through just a little bit too late, so Miss Marie is safe for now. We're going for this lateral take, upping the ante, pushing the tempo. Is going to start making things potentially a little bit more difficult for Delta Project.
Absolutely. And again, well, there you go. Nice use of the Twitch utility there to clear some of that shield utility off the site. But again, they need to be a little bit smoother with how they're approaching this. They haven't even really bothered to take much top floor control either. Shishka here with pulse shotgun, Dino.
I rate it. All the floors above you, or the ceiling above you, I guess, is just
destructible.
Yeah, is effectively paper mache. So if you can spot them out on your scanner, the C4 doesn't do it. Well, I guess just a whole load of buckshot to the ankles is going to do something, and it might work out. You never know.
Absolutely, and again, it's getting a little bit dangerous for them because they're gonna try and take this uphill battle almost into Astro, where Panda is lurking about there on the Ella, and this is what I mean. They needed to get that top floor control first, ideally, unless they just decide to go for a straight push. But again, it's that control you need to gain first in order for that collapse to come through, because realistically, they can just start shooting you through the floor if they need to.
Timing Kitty, if she's aware and checks on her left, she could spot out Raz, but I think Raz heard her move through piano. This is going to go the way, and that is going to be Lost Souls' actually first kill so far in this game, coming in round number 3. As now with just over 35 seconds, they've got this wall open and have a decent line of sight, but not aware of Shishka playing close with the shotgun. That's going to be Raz going down with the diffuser. Drake with the lucky pre-fire through the door, going to take the head off of Mia. Is now in a 3 versus 3. 20 seconds left to go. There's going to be another kill going the way of Lost Souls, but Panda right there to trade and even the scores out once again. Drake looking straight at Shishka, but wasn't able to get the frag initially. Shishka with the shotgun can't deal with the second player at long range, and that is going to be Lost Souls winning round number 3.
Yeah, indeed, but again, by the skin of that teeth. And one thing I have picked up on is the drone use on the side of Lost Souls right now is a little bit rocky, to be honest. I think that people are pushing without full intel when there are drones on the table still. There are opportunities for that intel to be gained so that push can be made a little bit safer. Again, getting killed to the pulse that was in the corner with a shotgun, you don't really love to see it, to be honest, Dino, because that could have been, droned out a little bit first.
Yeah, but it was kind of cool to watch the shotgun blast at that range.
Definitely,
Yeah, I'm just
100%,
gonna throw that out
100%.
there. Yeah,
We
there's
are
two
gonna
sides to the
see
same coin. You don't like to see it. I think it's kind of fun.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
we are gonna see the Rumi be brought out as the Amaru rather be brought out, which I guess again on the theme of fun. That's going to be an interesting one for the side of Lost Souls. Presumably, that will be. I mean, 9 times out of 10, when you see people approach this site with it, it's usually because they're trying to immediately stampede into 90 window, which I absolutely hate. But potentially, if it works for them, it will work for them. Otherwise, perhaps it'll just be a quick way of getting up and over onto the kind of statue trophy side. Perhaps we'll see something like that, maybe a direct push through Pig. Who knows, Dino? But I am very curious to see where Drake is going to be making their initial approach here, whether or not it's going to be an immediate one as well, or whether there's going to be a little bit of a setup and then the execute will come through with that utility.
G8 suppressor going straight on into bikes and is going to start clearing out downstairs as we are seeing in this matchup Lost Souls go for a lot more of a lateral take across the top floor, less of these direct pushes that we saw previously where the teams would just try to go head on to the objective itself. As right playing down below precisely there waiting for the catch. I couldn't even get the words out before it happened. Getting into a good position to wait for that player to rotate out. It's a very common spot to drop down. That's going to be Kitty gone off the board. A player who was so impactful over the last couple rounds, already eliminated.
Yes, indeed. And again, this is starting to prevent those flawless rounds from coming through again from the side of Delta. So hats off to Lost Souls for kind of nipping that in the bud these last 2 rounds as well. Again, really curious to see how this utility is going to be used. Maybe that hatch, in fact, maybe because we're seeing the Ayana utility get used there on 90. We're seeing Drake lurking around up there as well. Perhaps this is going to be a little bit of a surprise kind of peekaboo moment as Drake comes through a hatch like a little meerkat or something and takes Shishka by surprise if Shishka gets too bolshy with it again on that clash shield. So this could be, maybe it's a retaliation to that, to be honest, I mean, it's creative. I appreciate it.
Essentially, I mean, the big impact that the clash had previously was that Kitty was able to peek around from behind and go for those aggressive plays. Kitty being gone means that's not going to be the case, as we are going to see Panda getting the kill through the feet hole, taking down Raz. That's the Hibana gone and off the board. So a little bit of that hard destruction. In fact, all of the hard destruction from the side of Lost Souls has now been removed from the table. Whatever they haven't been able to get open is going to remain closed. That's going to be Eri again getting tagged up just a little bit more. I think potentially through those feet holes once again. As now with less than 45 seconds to go, things are starting to stall out a little bit for Lost Souls.
I think we're going to see a in chat from Drake, which is an interesting one. Will be on a stick, but otherwise pronounces EMP is getting used to prevent that gate. I think we're going to see probably a default vault plant here, but again, those toxic babes coming through there from Miss Marie to hold it off evermore. And again, Shishka on that shield. This is very risky. Eri actually going for the plant here, while Shishka is going to force it up. And there we go. The C4 is actually going to miss. But, oh, wow, that was a very fast cleanup there from the side of Delta Project. Even though the C4, there we go, it was missed initially. They just ran forward and went with it. Disgusting. Yeah. Disgusting behavior.
Yeah, just the 3-person swing, the shotgun on the other side, and then just the double follow-up onto the 2 players trying to hold. It just absolutely demolished that end of the round for Lost Souls, as they were trying to go for that plant. Not going to be the case, and that is now going to mean that Delta Project are going to have to go back to Trophy Statue, another site where they very successfully and easily held off Lost Souls previously. That was the second flawless round in the game. It was the second round in the game as well. So going to be interesting to see what adaptations Lost Souls have made going on into this one.
Well, Dino, they're bringing the cheeky little Flores. I absolutely rate that. Again, utility clear. I've been saying this for a majority of the rounds now. They need to focus on that utility, on their attack. And I think Flores is the perfect way to deal with that. They've assumed that they will most likely be the top 4 site again. And when you consider things like those shield setups on the Goyo, things like that, of course it's going to be beneficial to them right now to bring something like the Flores where they can descend in that drone and it will just get rid of so much utility. So much utility. I think that's really sensible, to be honest, and I rate it. I fully rate that.
10 seconds remaining.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. Good for you. I do rate that as well. Flores does provide a different dynamic, different level of way to play. You can be more aggressive with it. It does that sort of job of both a Twitch and a Thatcher at the same time. So it's quite fun to see in action, especially when it's able to be highly efficient at getting rid of utility inside of the objective. We're going to see how Drake is going to use it, as we're going to see Lost Souls get set up, and looks like they're going to go for more of a direct bedroom push this go around.
Which, again, I rate. I think they've got the utility to deal with it. Send in the Ayana, maybe bait a few shots to begin with, work out some positioning, send in the Ayana to get rid of the Rooney gate as well. Then you send in the Flores, deal with that Goyo shield as well. They're sending a Flores in at the moment into Trophy itself. There we go. Well, I was actually shot out, to be honest, a bit unfortunate there, but they had the right idea there, was to, okay, this is how we're going to combat those Goyo shields. We're going to send in that Flores drone and blow it all up. But ultimately, yeah, I think Delta have definitely clocked on to the fact that those Flores drones are now going to be there as well. So we might see a bit more aggression come through from the ladies of Delta Project to prevent any kind of utility like that coming through, but only time can tell.
Now, Flores also with quite a distinctive sounding gun. That AR you don't normally see on Thatcher, so everyone goes, oh, well, that's where the Flores is, and just going to be able to have someone babysit the window. As you can see, Shishka right next to it, not able to actually get the drone coming through from Drake, so Shishka is going to be forced out of position for the time being, but it's just going to be able to retake it up immediately afterwards. We do see Fairy having used one of those flame bolts already as a quick double kill coming through for Lost Souls. Shishka and me are going to go down. Kitty is able to trade one back onto Fairy as this fight going on around the bathroom area. It's starting to look like Lost Souls are going to be able to take control as a lot of damage has been dealt onto Kitty, and she might choose to rotate off, but still instead wanting to be aggressive. The timing not quite there for Eri. As now with less than 50 seconds to go, it is man advantage in favor of Lost Souls, but as I say that, Eri gets down trying to run on past the breach that has been made.
Yes, indeed. Well, nearly 35 seconds on the clock, and they really have to make this collapse. But again, oh, they're just going to go through the gate. Absolutely non-given, to be honest, They're just going to go straight in, but Meep is the one with the diffuser, so you can be on site, but unless the diffuser is there, there's very little time for the plant to go down. 20 seconds on the clock. Shotgun in hand, Panda is going to take down Raz before they have a chance to cause any chaos, but Meep is finally sticking to that diffuser as well. It's going to be a post-plant situation, Dino, and there we go. It's all left down to Panda. Miss Marie actually getting res there by the Thunderbird utility. Panda getting the pick onto Eri, however. 2 more to get, and that defuse. Marie's going to take down Drake. It's all left down to Meep to hold onto this post plant. A 1v2 situation. Full health though. That diffuse is being stuck there, and she's gonna have to swing for it, but they're ready and waiting. Yes, they are. The shotgun to the face. Panda taking down Meep, and that is Delta Project winning round number 5.
Defenders win.
Yeah, Meep getting forced all the way back inside of the closet and firing a couple shots through gave the opportunity for that flank and rotation to come through from Miss Marie, able to get all the way back on over to support as that Thunderbird utility coming in absolutely clutch, as what was in effect a 1 versus 3, 1 versus 4, then became a 2 versus 2 in a blink of an eye, thanks to some nice kills from the Mute and that Thunderbird utility just being incredibly effective. And that just goes to show how strong Thunderbird can be in the right situation.
100%, 100. It's kind of maybe it's going to become almost like the Zofia withstand, how they took that out because of how annoying it was
Attackers
getting
need to
people to think,
locate
oh,
and
I've downed this
defuse as many
person, I don't
bombs
have
as
to
they
worry
can.
about it now. Maybe we're going to start seeing the same frustrations come through because of that Thunderbird utility. Oh, this person was downed and now magically they're back up again. And I'm not in a 2v1, I'm in a 2v2. And I'm fully unaware of it. Because the last I saw, that person was down. Yeah, it's a difficult situation to deal with. Of course, this is the last defending round for Delta Project, so they really want to get this in the bag now. But if you're Lost Souls, I mean, they've already won this site once, which they did do a really good job of. I will say as well, these last few rounds, they have been doing a good job, to be honest. They've been doing a good job. They've been really getting it down to the nail there, and they've started adapting and they've started bringing out this utility to deal with these kind of setups that Delta have brought, which is, yeah, hats off to them. Really good work.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, for Lost Souls in this round, as you say, they've had a good couple rounds. They've made it more competitive. They've been able to win one. If they were able to get the round here, this really throws the next half up in the air, I feel, because 4-2 isn't a bad split for any team on Villa, especially if you only win the 2 rounds when you're on your attack, just because of how heavily defender-sided it is. But if they lose this one, then Delta Project just need to win 2, and that's quite easy to do at times on Villa, depending upon the sites and the operators. So this is quite an important round. Lost Souls need to make a stand here and really push back and not let these easy kills happen. And no refrags despite someone else being on the same window. And Kitsy with the follow-up! The quick peek coming through. That's going to be Meat going down. A 5 versus 3 really early on. Just down to the play from that Jaeger.
I believe we're also going to have a tactical timeout after this round that has been requested by the players as well. Potentially another rehost, potentially technical issues on both sides. Here's that Flores drone again. They're attempting to fill that utility. It's going to get rid of that alibi and also create a little bit of a hole in the wall there. Oh, beautiful shot. Very patient Eri taking down Kitty before Kitty can cause any more chaos on the upstairs. Panda, however, is going to take down Fairy. So now it's all left on Strike and Eri to try and win this out for their team. Diffuser, not in an ideal situation.
Yeah, difficult to recover. They're unaware and unsure of where these players are positioned. Panda's going to get the down onto 1, but it's going to get followed up onto by Eri, who's going to have the opportunity to revive her teammate. The C4 going to go awry and not get any kills as Drake now attempting to hold onto these red stairs as Eri wants to run on around, grab the diffuser and regroup with her teammate. So 45 seconds left to go. They don't really have a lot of options as to what they can do here.
Yeah, so it's a tricky one. I mean, they're only at a 1-player disadvantage, but again, it's this idea that time is the 6th defender, as you always say, Dino. So they really have to make the play now. Ideally, they have to collapse into the site and just go for these picks where they can. They've seen a little bit of utility used to maybe push people back from difficult situations or positions to deal with. More of that utility. Oh, Miss Marie! Miss Murray with the double C4 to finish that off. That is DP winning another defensive round. And that is, finishing that split on a, 5-1. That is not bad going. Of course, it is Delta Project and it is Villa. Slightly not expected, but it makes sense that it's like that. But the thing is, Dino, is to be honest, Lost Souls have been playing that really well, in my opinion. Yes, it was a little bit rocky at first, with those flawless rounds coming through. It was very much like, okay, you're coming against this utility and you're not dealing with it efficiently enough. And then we saw them start to bring things to the table that would impact things a little bit better and a little bit more in their favor. Things like the Flores, even the Aruni, it didn't really do anything too razzle-dazzle-y, but it gives them that flexibility to work with, to be honest. And I think that if I was Lost Souls, like, yes, you're ending that half on like a 1-5, but you did not do a bad job of it at all, especially when you are playing against a team like Delta Project. It's like, I would keep the vibes high, to be honest, after
Hmm.
that. They did play that well. I don't, do you agree with me?
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of those games where, the scoreline might come up being something like a 7-2, 7-3, and you go, oh, well, Delta Project just absolutely blew them out of the water. No, that's not the case.
Mm,
Lost Souls, definitely in some of these rounds, it could have gone either way. Just a little bit of timing, a little bit of positioning, very simple changes and fixes that can come through or just, happen it naturally in the spur of a game that could have flipped this around. And we could be looking at something like a 3-3 or a 4-2 at this moment in time, which, then you start to think Lost Souls really have a chance in this one. So whatever the scoreline is, I don't feel like it might
mm.
fully reflect what the actual fight that was going on in this game from both sides truly was.
100%. I mean, fair enough if it was like a 5-1 and every single round was like flawless, but it wasn't the case at all. Again, it was really coming down to the mark. Some of that round as well, was the round where I think it was Drake saying like I hate Thunderbird after because
Hmm.
again, the player on the side of Delta Project being down and
Attackers need
ultimately
to
brought back
locate
to
and defuse
life
bombs.
really impacted the way that the rest of that round went because it wasn't a 2v1, it was a 2v2. And again, a lot harder to deal with that kind of equal
Attackers have located a
matchup
bomb.
like that, especially if you are on the attack because you have the timer to worry about.
Yeah.
But moving over though, we're seeing the lion, the lion yet again being brought to Villa.
Yeah, we saw it right in the very first round of this game, and it was rather short lived as
10 seconds to insertion.
Kitty peeked out from behind a clash and absolutely domed the ever
5
living
seconds to
hell
go.
out of whoever was playing Lion in that round. I have forgotten who it was, but I'm going to see it come through this
Attackers
time
are
for
moving to
Delta Project.
defuse the
Mia's going
bomb.
to be picking it up. I'm going to be interesting to see how she chooses to use it and what effect it's going to have, as we all know Lion to be sort of quite a powerful operator, but these days very situational and not as effective sometimes as I feel most teams think he's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you're going to bring the line, it's because you're using it either for a very aggressive push directly into the site almost instantaneously, or you're using it for that final collapse as a little bit of a. Oh,
Wow.
wow. Beautiful coordination there by Delta Project. Eri getting caught off guard as she tries to make her run away through the bottom part of this map. And yeah, ultimately getting picked off there by Miss Marie.
Yeah, that's just the coordination. Having the drones going through once Miss Maria has already set up inside of piano, the punch. The ability to check the site itself, but the bulletproof cam at the end of the hallway is going to be dealt with. Going to make things a little bit easier for the rest of this attack for Delta.
Absolutely, this is what I mean. They're clearing every single little piece of utility that they find and see, as expected from this team, to be honest. I think if they were leaving things like that up, it would be a little bit concerning. Again, given the experience of the players on this team, they know what they're doing, Dino. They know how to cross those T's and dot those I's. Aggressive shots coming through on this bar window, games window rather, games doorway, sorry, from Panda there. Getting a little bit aggressive with it. Maya's going to take down Drake as well and then go on the rotate on that Lion utility. Still at least one scan in pocket again, so presumably that will be safe for what I'm going to assume will be the collapse coming through very, very shortly.
Stun starting to go on in. Fairy is going to get the kill onto Mia as the plant from Shishka is going down behind the bar. She's been able to work her way on through the Hibana holes. And I think Lost Soul's completely unaware that that's the case. And now they've got to try and scramble for this retake. Kitty outside is going to get the kill onto Meep. And then the follow-up onto Fairy. It's now just Raz. Miss Marie with the challenge is going to be able to win that one. And now Delta Projects 1 round away from being able to secure this one in a pretty convincing looking scoreline of a 7-1.
Yeah, and we've only had one other 7-1 this season, which was on Playday 1. It was Frenemy getting a 7-1 victory on Oregon. So, yeah, Delta, if they can grab their own 7-1, I suppose it's again indicative of what they were saying last week, where it's like, we are, pulling our trousers up a little bit now and showing people that we are the Delta Project that you're all expecting us to be. Um, Again, on the side of Lost Souls, this is where the pressure's just so intense, so intense. And I think it's a shame, really, because again, they really did play well on that attack. Like it really really was a good run of it. And again, this kind of standard way
Defenders, protect your bombs
that
from
they
being
are,
defused by
well, I say it's
attackers.
standard, but they're trying to be a little bit aggressive with it in terms of some of these lines of sight that they're creating, but then those lines of sight are being utilized against them, so it's a little bit risky biscuits. But otherwise, the operator compositions, they're pretty by the book. Again, would rather maybe a mute over the Mozzie though. Maybe it's just a comfort pick though.
Maybe that P10 Roni is one hell of a weapon. So if they are choosing it to go for the aggressive fights, we see
10 seconds
Eri
left.
find themselves in a lot of these aggressive positions, but unable to sort of really
5
piece it
seconds
together
remaining.
in the same way, not able to sort of follow up and get all the kills, or they'll get
Attackers,
one and a
locate
chunk
and
of damage,
defuse
and
the
it's
bomb.
just not enough to really be dominant and convincing in some of these situations. So going for a bit of a comfort pick here and playing in the same way could be what's needed to try and break a bit of the momentum that Delta Project have at the moment.
Absolutely. Again, it's very aggressive long line of sight being created by Panda there. Not sure what they're expecting. Maybe a rotate through that kitchen area underneath. Maybe they're expecting the C4 plays to come through from the side of Lost Souls. But for now, again, they're just being very able to kind of apply this pressure to the bedroom area. We're going to see that Gemini clone coming in. It's going to
Attackers have
feed back a
located a
little bit of
bomb.
intel as to how that setup is around the kind of bedroom closet area. Miss Marie jumping in now after collecting that intel as well. This really nice angle being held by Maya as well. They're doing a really good job of approaching this, to be honest, and it's awkward in a way because I suppose Lost Souls kind of pushed back a little bit here.
Line scanner starting to come on out as Panda opening up that Rooney gate to allow for the pressure to be applied. Just firing an impact at the desk completely decimates the cover that Ferry was using, and now they can start to get aggressive, pushing all the way through. Astra, the player behind the counter, is going to get taken down, but a little bit of a trade coming back through. We had seen Miss Marie go down, and then Panda falls as well. Kitty's nade isn't going to go anywhere, caught immediately by an ADS as another EE1D goes on out. Now, the flank watch from Delta Project has had to be removed. They have to all get aggressive and push together, and that's going to be Shushka getting the next kill, putting us now into a 3 versus 2, as they're both playing below. The C4 has been pre-placed, but no one's able to really deny it. Kitty does go down. The plant has been successful, and now in a post-plant situation, Delta 2 versus 2, as they won't realistically be able to pick up Kitty. They might be trying to go for it, though. Or are they trying to bait out the sound? Can't quite tell, as Drake working her way on in. Eri trying to take the fight onto Mia. Not gonna happen. Drake trying to find something, anything. The crossfires all around. That's going to be Delta Project winning this round and the match as a whole.
Yes, indeed. And again, 7-1 victory to Delta Project. They're going to feel very good about that. As I say, there's only been one other 7-1 thus far, and that was Frenemy. For Delta to finish this on a 7-1, very, very good going. I think they have firmly put their foot down now. They've planted their flag into the ground, and they've gone, we're Delta Project, we're here, deal with it. On the side of Lost Souls, again, I don't think that was terrible by them. I think that they did, especially on the attack, they did a really good job. They eventually adapted to it and they started sending in that utility. It just is what it is ultimately. There can only be one winner, and Delta, they have so much experience behind them. It's very difficult to deal with that kind of situation. And again, 7-1 victory, they're going to be feeling very, very, very good about that. And, speaking of Delta Project, I think we are actually going to have a little bit of an interview here with the lovely Shishka. So
hello, everyone. Long time no see.
Long time no see. You've got to feel amazing after that. A 7-1 victory on the board. A 7-1 victory. I mean, I did say the other week I do expect a lot more, and wow, you've definitely brought it this week.
Yeah, well, not gonna lie, we knew which map we're gonna play. We did some digging and we did a lot of predictions, and we kind of won the map bans. So we did warm up Villa today as well, and we were really confident that we're gonna take it, and we did, even though we had some technical difficulties. But it worked at the end.
Yeah, one big thing that we noticed throughout that game was sort of the aggression coming through from you guys from start to finish. You say that you did a bit of digging, you say that you warmed up. Was that in the plan from the get go? Did you just see Lost Souls and go, yeah, we're going to take the fight to them from the start?
I think we're always trying to read the enemy team. Depends on how they play. We want to counter that, and because they did become a little passive at the beginning, so I figured, you know what, this is time to play aggressive. So we did that, and it worked really well for us.
And talking about reading, I will say that it did look like Lost Souls. They by kind of round 3-4, they started to kind of suss out, okay, we need to start actually utility dumping a little bit to deal with these setups that Delta Project have brought to the table. And there was a little bit of pressure getting applied at that point because of that. They were able to get a few of you off guard here and there and everywhere. And yeah, I suppose did that catch you a little bit off surprise when you realize, oh, they're actually starting to read into this and send in that utility now?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I mean, they didn't play. They didn't play bad. They did read into a few strats that we had, and that's how we, for example, lost the kitchen defense because they knew where to push. They saw that we're roaming heavily, and they decided to push side, which was a very good call for them. But we did decide to not let that happen again, and we didn't.
Looking forward at your upcoming games. You're going up against Nemesis and Frenemy over the next 2 weeks. Is there anything you have to say for those teams to get them prepared, get them psyched up and ready to go for them?
Yes, we're coming for you.
Okay. I love it. I love it.
Love to hear it.
I love it. I really do.
I'm watching them.
Watching them, always watching. I mean, yeah, you will indeed be watching them for the rest of this evening. I think the final matchup will be Frenemy versus Sparkle team. Position 1 and 2, actually. So again, you guys will be head to head with one of those two later on, and then the other one will be only 1 point ahead of you. So yeah, the pressure's on.
Interesting. Yeah, it is on. It is. We still do feel confident though, so do not think that those points will save you, girls.
Oh, I love it. I really do. I love it. I love it. I love it so much. Okay, yeah. I'm here for it. I'm completely here. We will be looking forward to seeing you play next week then. And thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. It was nice talking to you again.
Yeah. Take care.
And bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I really do love the interviews. I love the interviews so much. They're my favorite things. I think it's really nice to see the ladies after they've played and they're all full of beans and excited. And I love the confidence there from Delta Project. They're coming for you apparently. So that's again, I chef's kiss. I respect it.